Now, I know what you're thinking. Guy with no name, when did you become an expert in ASL? My response?
Last night.
Howdy, I'm the guy with no name. Thanks for stopping by my channel. So before we get into talking about the 5-episode Disney Plus series Echo, I do want to let you know that I will be discussing spoilers later on, but don't worry, I will be giving you a heads up before that. So until then, you guys should be good. So Echo picks up just about where the show Hawkeye left off. If you recall, and even if you don't recall, the show does a great job of catching you up. But Lopez is actually on the run after, let's call it, severing ties with Kingpin. However, she soon has much bigger plans in mind, which might just involve her becoming the new Queenpin. Echo stars Alaqua Cox as Maya Lopez, aka Echo, Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, Chasky Spencer as Henry Lopez, Maya's uncle, and Tantu Cardinal and Graham Greene as Maya's grandparents. Let's jump right into it. First of all, I'd like to talk about a theory that I've been kind of forming in the back of my mind over the years with these different Disney Plus, Marvel, and Star Wars shows. I feel like even the ones that are subpar or even terrible, and ones off the top of my head like Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Loki Season 1, I know some people liked it, I really didn't. What else? She-Hulk, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I feel like all of those, I would say I didn't like them very much at all, but the first episode or two were very good in my opinion, almost night and day different. And I'm kind of wondering, is that on purpose? Is Disney trying its hardest to make sure that the first impression of the series is as great as it can be, and they're maybe hoping that, well, if we focus on the first episode or two, maybe that will keep the audience invested enough for the end of the series. I mean, it's only, what, 5 to 8 episodes per series anyway, so that's not that crazy of an investment. So, I don't know, I'm just kind of curious. With Echo, it's definitely the case here that the first episode is by far the best, in my opinion. It's the least sloppy, story is the most interesting, the action is great, pretty thrilling, and I really enjoyed the cameo from Daredevil. Charlie Cox's Daredevil was awesome to see. I know some people are kind of nitpicking it, but to me it's just that, nitpicking. I did enjoy it overall, and especially seeing the rest of the season, I'm like, well, that was a great fight. But yeah, so unfortunately, if you watch the first episode of Echo and you're not sure whether to watch anymore, after episode 1, the story really goes downhill. It's very carelessly put together, in my opinion, and I mean, on top of that, it's a 5-episode season. That's a really short season. And yet there's still lots of filler. I mean, this could have been like a 3-episode season with the story that they provided. Also, Maya's plan is really dumb. I mean, it makes sense that she wants to take advantage of this supposed power vacuum, but the way she attempts to do it is, I'm going to go back to my childhood town that I grew up in, and then I'm going to hide out at this house on the outskirts of it. And then from there, I'm gonna basically wire this train that I know goes to Fisk's shipping facility and wire it to explode, which, by the way, she had no idea how many people that was gonna kill, if she was gonna kill innocents. She literally didn't care. But yeah, she explodes that one facility, it works, but then the rest of the time she just basically spends it talking to her uncle about how she wants to be, you know, the Queenpin. But I don't know what she expects. Does she expect it to just fall into her lap? Because I guarantee you that's not how Kingpin built his whole empire. You can't just take over his empire by exploding one shipping facility and that's that. And then they're just gonna come to you and say, hey, can you be our new leader? But that's basically her plan. I don't know what else she was expecting. And then these people, you know, come back to hunt her down. She doesn't care that where she's hiding out, she puts all her family and friends and community in danger. She should have known that that was going to happen. And then there's multiple situations where her plan of attack there's tons of people, and her plan of attack is just, I'm gonna basically head-on attack them and fight them, and I'm just gonna kill them all, I guess. But that being not a very good well thought out plan doesn't always go well, and there are multiple times where she would have been killed if not for some outside force coming in. So ultimately what I'm trying to say is Echo as the main protagonist really doesn't work very well. How is Kingpin? Well, first of all, D'Onofrio does an amazing job portraying the character again. He was a little bit cartoony in Hawkeye, but I don't think that's his fault. I think he was directed that way. But in this one, luckily, he seems to be playing the exact same character as the Netflix Daredevil show. So that's cool. Unfortunately, though, he pretty much exists just to be humiliated and to be beaten. And I was really excited when they announced that he was coming to the MCU, but unfortunately, the MCU seems to be using Kingpin as basically a villain to prop up these lesser known, lesser liked characters, and Echo is no exception. He makes a lot of really emotional, stupid calls in the show. He makes a lot of decisions that open him up to be bitten in the butt, and it's like he knows that. It seems like he knows these decisions could come back to bite him in the butt, but he doesn't care, and ultimately he just comes across as incompetent because of all that. So, I liked him in there, but I was ultimately pretty disappointed in how he was treated. And speaking of incompetent, so the way he's defeated is by Maya and her family, most of whom have no combat experience whatsoever, and it was in a really, really, really cheesy moment. Like one of the cheesiest moments I've seen in TV or movies in a very long time, and I don't think it's even on purpose at all. I think it's they think it's going to evoke emotion of like, yeah, but instead I'm like sitting on the couch going, oh gosh, rolling my eyes, and it was bad. It kind of leads me to these flashbacks. It's like basically the finale is like the culmination of these flashbacks that we've been seeing of how the Choctaw people first came into being, and then some of Maya's ancestors. And I thought most of them were pretty boring, pretty not really well fleshed out, well executed. The worst was definitely her ancestor in Western times with the rifle. That was awful. I mean that was bad. Just so cheesy. But anyways, yeah, the finale just really, really, really underscored the fact that I did not like the show ultimately. I guess I'm glad I watched it simply because of seeing D'Onofrio act, because he does the best he can in the role. Some of the action was pretty fun. Charlie Cox briefly was fun. But yeah, ultimately I was disappointed. You guys know me, I'm a big proponent of endings, and if a movie or show ends well, I can forgive just about everything else, but this did not end well. So have you seen Echo? Was I too hard on it or not hard enough? Also, out of curiosity, I'd love to know, what's your relationship with the MCU right now? Do you still watch everything MCU related? Do you pick and choose what to watch, or have you dropped off entirely? I'd love to know, because I know that the franchise is kind of in a precarious state at the moment. Also, I got reviews to watch that you can watch of Loki Season 2, The Marvels, or Napoleon, Godzilla -1. I appreciate you guys. Remember to like and subscribe. This is Guy with No Name, signing off.